welcome to I'm Not a Fan Unless I Have a Podcast. I'm John Hanford, and thank you for everybody who subscribed on YouTube, subscribed on whatever podcast platform you got. I can't keep track of those, but I see the 58 subscribers on YouTube, and for that I am so thankful. And thanks for following on GizFan Pod on Instagram. This has been a really fun podcast. This is the 40th episode. Fucking crazy. Considering that I've only been recording this podcast since late April, and the first one went up on I think May 5th, in honor of what should have been the first Red Rocks show. It's been a lot of fun doing this podcast, and sometimes I'm wondering, how the fuck is this still going? This is so thank you for everybody that has kept me in it, because without you I wouldn't want to keep doing it. I don't have the following of, say, Joe Rogan, but I've got a following nonetheless of at least a couple people, and more than that. So I'm thrilled. I'm thankful. Thank you so much. This guest for episode 40, I had the pleasure of meeting in person a couple weeks ago, or last week, I guess, in Phoenix, Arizona, when I was there in Phoenix, doing stand-up comedy since California's kind of shut down. Phoenix has a vibrant scene, and they're masked up and still going out and stuff. So I like doing that. And that's what I did. That's what I did while I was in Phoenix for the most part. And then, in my downtime, I decided, why don't I pop into Zia Records in Tempe? I love that record store. It's one of my favorites. Sure, I live closer to LA where there's Amoeba Records, and sure, Amoeba it's hard to top that. But I love Zia Records because it's smaller, and they've still got a chain. They got a few locations in Arizona, and then one in Las Vegas. So that's pretty cool. I've also seen the Meat Puppets play there when they released their Dusty Notes record last year, and they did an in-store performance and had a Zia exclusive pressing. And so I went to Zia Records. That's where I've bought several of my Giz albums. I got my copy of Polygondwana Land there, Quarters. And then this go round, I got 3 more. I got Float Along, Fill Your Lungs, Paper Mache Dream Balloon, and 12 Bar Brews. So it was cool to get those from there. I don't know. I like supporting local businesses, and obviously anything musical I am into. I'm also thrilled that I received in the mail just the other day my Asheville King Gizzard t-shirt. I know that they and I don't think they ever sent out a shipping notification with these. So I've seen some people posting on the Facebook groups, hey, where the fuck's my Asheville shirt? Why are people getting theirs already? And I haven't heard anything about mine even shipping. I don't think they sent notifications for them. Or at least I didn't get one. But anyway, so I've got that. Right. So back to Zia Records and my trip there. I got the 3 Giz records. And then I also bought John Coltrane album and Bad Bad Not Good. I bought their album 4 from a few years back. Great store, Zia Records. If you're in Arizona, check it out. If you live there, you probably know about it. And if you somehow didn't, you're living in Arizona and you're listening to this podcast or watching or whatever, check out Zia Records. They're great. They've been around for 40 years. So anyway, while I was at Zia Records digging through the King Gizzard albums, I met this guy. This guy was just standing there looking through another box of some of the hot or used records or something, some interesting mix, just where who knows what you'll find in there. There's no real rhyme or reason to how they're ordered. So he was just digging through that while I was digging through the K's. King Gizzard, wanted to see if they had any Khruangbin or Kikagaku Moyo, and unfortunately they didn't. But I was digging through King Gizzard albums, and then this guy goes, "Hey man, you listen to King Gizzard?" And I was just like, "Do I listen to King Gizzard? I have a whole podcast that a few people subscribe to." And he was like, "Oh, that's cool." So we're just like talking, just making idle chit chat and whatnot, and this is in the morning still. I haven't had coffee or anything, and I've also got some other stuff going on. I wasn't really ready to have a whole conversation, but in any case, I felt like, all right, I should maybe wrap up this conversation since I'm not quite all there at the moment. So I invited him to come on the podcast, and then a couple days after we met at Zia Records in Tempe, we recorded this podcast episode. It was a lot of fun. And also in doing just a little bit of research on him, by research, I mean Instagram stalking. I've discovered that this guy is a hell of a visual artist. Fucking cool ass. He did he designed a few posters, and you can check out all of his art. He's done like show posters for King Gizzard, OCs, a whole bunch of other bands that have come through the Phoenix area. You can check out his art on ElijahSeeger.com. That's ElijahSeeger.com. So I was absolutely thrilled to find out that this dude not only is he a Giz fan, but he's also got like his own shit that he does, with photography and digital design. All super cool. So, I love highlighting people's, creations on here, artistic endeavors and whatnot. Elijah is no exception. So without further ado, here's Elijah.
So my background is Willem Dafoe and Wild at Heart. He's really fucking creepy. And in my picture I've used for everything for a minute. It's humorous to me. It's really gross and just, I find it to be really funny.
I mean, yeah, totally. I mean, I like that close up. I have no idea that that's Willem Dafoe, and especially with those little nub teeth. Like, but yeah, dude. So thanks for coming on the podcast. I give you a little intro before the the interview segment starts. But so we met at Zia Records just randomly. I'm digging through the Giz, and this is like an ideal scenario for any Gizzhead, just like randomly meeting another one while shopping for Giz records.
Oh yeah, no, I was kind of telling you about it. I always do that. Just wait by the K's, see who walks by.
It's good. It's a good strategy. I like that. It seems like a good way to expand your circle. But so like I noticed you were digging through some of the I guess so. What was those, like the new releases or like just random hot records or something?
Yeah, usually there's some good things in their used stuff, but that time I didn't find anything.
Yeah, I found a used copy of Black Sabbath's Paranoid, and I was thinking about getting that, but then I looked at the price. I was like, I'm not $50 for
something you can get for
exactly. Like I bought the Bad Bad Not Good 4 album, and
have you heard it before or?
Yeah, I listened to it a little bit on Spotify, just while I'm driving, so I never really got into it. But then last night I put it on for the first time, and it just blew my mind. I take it the album.
Yeah.
It like that's a masterpiece. It's a really cool, eclectic, jazzy record.
Mm. Yeah, they I wish they'd put out another record. I know they put out 2 singles this year, and those are really good. But I'm waiting for another album because that 4 was really good. Came out 2016, I think. 2016. Yeah, no, that was one I probably, I don't know if it was my favorite that year, because Not Gone Infinity, but that record was really good.
What a great year for music, I mean, 26, I feel like it was sort of like around like 2015 and on, that at least I got like I started realizing, hey, there's actually a lot of good new music coming out. And yeah, like obviously with Nonagon and this Bad Not Good record for um, plus quarters, like I think it's a pretty good 2016 was a pretty good year for music. Or actually, was quarters 2015?
Yeah, that and Paper
Okay.
Machine, both those came out that 2015.
Okay.
That's
Still, I think my point stands.
yeah.
Lots of good stuff coming out. But yeah, so back to Giz. Like we didn't really talk that. We were talking more just about records, and I was sort of caught off guard. I hadn't had my coffee yet, and I was kind of like I kind of had to take a shit, so I wasn't all there mentally. But um, uh,
No.
what's so? How did you first get into King Giz?
So it was kind of as we were talking. It was like late, pretty much 2016. I watched the music video for Trapdoor. That was the first song I ever heard by them. And then I listened to that album in quarters. Didn't listen to Mind Fuzz. And then um, by that time, Nonagon had came out, and that's when they had they gained like a lot of popularity from Nonagon, and then obviously even more after that because those whole 5 records that came out that the following year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Nonagon, like obviously that's a masterpiece. But you mentioned Trapdoor and Quarters being your first foray into Giz, really.
Mhm.
Were you coming at it from sort of like a jazzy uh, type of like background before then, or like what led you to Trapdoor?
It was just kind of it was just like recommended videos on YouTube. So once it went from that, like I just thought they were like a jazzy band, and then I listened to Nonagon and I was like, oh shit, this is totally different. Then I went back and listened to Mind Fuzz and 12 Bar Brews and all that, and it was, oh, this is pretty cool. They have a lot of different genres, and just something. As soon as I heard Nonagon, I just knew that they would be like something else of a band, and they've clearly shown that over the past few years.
Yeah, definitely. I also checked out your art website. I didn't realize like you're also a visual artist and everything. Like I saw some of those posters you made.
Yeah.
Like even made a poster for the Giz show in 2017 at the Crescent Ballroom. Like that. That's first of all, what a venue to watch King Giz. Like that place is tiny.
Oh yeah. So oh man. So that show basically got me into all the like kind of what I'm doing now. If it wasn't for that night, I like art wise, I would not be where I am now. That show really and that poster that I did really pushed me to, I guess, kind of become who I am right now.
That's really cool. I've sort of felt the same way after getting exposed to King Giz. Like that's when I decided like, hey, maybe I should actually tap into my own creativity and just see what's there. Cause like, I don't know about you, but like when I first heard, like my first Giz record was Polygon Dwanaland. So I like just listening to that, I was just like, how does anybody even think to come up with any of this stuff? And like, it was just like, I was just trying to wrap my mind around it. Uh, to the point where I was just like, well, as long as I'm thinking this hard about how to create, I might as well just start doing it.
Oh yeah.
So it is interesting how like you can use Giz or what I guess whatever artistic influence you have just as kind of a springboard. But um, what do you think? Because like I've seen your other stuff and like there's plenty of stuff that's not Giz
Oh,
that's like really cool. So like do you think it was Giz more than anything that just kind of gave you that inspiration to just kind of go for it?
Um, yeah, because I mean, they're still my favorite band, and at the time, they were my favorite band, and I just wanted to do something for them because I thought they would never come to Arizona, so I thought I would make this for them, and yeah, I got to sell them at the show, and from there, I was like, I really like doing this, so I kept doing it. Like I had nothing to lose. Like the worst thing that I could do by making posters is just by like them saying no, and no one's ever said no, so. But basically, I just kept doing that, and I just kept feeling that creativity. That's something that, but no, to what your question was yeah, for the most part, it was probably because of them. But the fan base for this band is like they're the most creative people. Like I've never met any other group of people that are just as creative as Gizzheads.
Yeah, I mean, there is one thing just about them, the guys in the band. Like they have such an like a fluid kind of anything goes type of uh vibe and like approach to their stuff, and like I think that does rub off onto anybody that really digs them.
Mm.
And it's just like, as long as it's anything goes, you might as well just let the inspiration run free, and start a fucking podcast where where you just talk about all this shit. Like
Mhm.
it's and like I've seen, there are a whole bunch of other people that are kind of doing what you're doing. Like there's another Giz podcast out there, and like I mean there's so many. Yeah, like you see on the Facebook fan page, like there's the Fan Music Friday, and there's just tons of different stuff coming out that is so influenced by Giz. It's just kind of wild. Like I've never expected to find myself in this kind of like community.
Mm.
um
Yeah, the Facebook group, that was like another big one. As like I would just post things there and like not really super confident, and everyone there would just do it. And yeah, the Facebook group is a really cool place. There's a guy on there. He doesn't post that much anymore, but his name's Larry Thunders, and that man is something else. Add
yeah.
him on.
Wait, what was that? You cut out for a second.
So there's, I don't know if he's in the group anymore, but his name is Larry Thunders, and Larry was like big motivator for me. But he's a real funny dude.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to like go back, search for Larry Thunder, and see if his poster's still there. Yeah, I mean I always love all that shit. I mean, like there are a whole bunch of people in the group that like I've just gotten to know their names, and like I'll see their names pop up and stuff, and I'm just like, oh yeah, this person typically has good taste, and like I like I could just make these little associations based on the different stuff that like they're digging or whatnot, and certain people just kind of jump out a little more than others.
Uh,
And it's been sort of interesting to see how I don't know, just like how the community just kind of works, and like how there are like these little like micro celebrities that you kind of root for within the fan base.
for
But
sure.
so in 2017, was that your first time seeing Giz?
Yeah. So that was over at Crescent here in Arizona. That was the first time, and then a few months after that, when Sketches had come out, I went to over. They played a show in New Mexico, and that was even smaller than Crescent Ballroom.
Oh
Um,
wow.
they played at a place called Sister Bar. I don't know if the name has changed or not, but that place was even smaller than Crescent, and that was a lot. That was a lot of fun. Um,
Shit. Like I'm just thinking of like seeing, because like I saw Giz in I guess 2018, and they're playing like Brooklyn Steel, which is like, oh I don't know what the capacity is, but it's well over 10,000.
mhm.
Um and or maybe it's 10,000. Um but yeah, I was just thinking like what must have this been, it must have been insane to see him in such a small, intimate venue, especially after like the Nonagon masterpiece came out, and Sketches was brilliant as well. Did they play anything off Sketches?
No, they didn't. For the most part, it was just Microtonal Banana and Murder of the Universe. That was those songs. Oh, at that show, they did play. Instead of playing The River for once, they played Lonely Steel Sheet Flyer.
Oh
That
shit, that's cool.
was it.
Yeah, I like sometimes I prefer the B side to that record over the A, because like Infinite Rise I've never really been able to get into. The River is obviously awesome, but like you get God in the Rhythm and Lonely Steel Sheet Flyer.
Those I get why people love The River, but I just prefer the other two, the other half a lot more. I don't know what it is. I like listening to The River, but God is in the Rhythm and Lonely Steel Sheet Flyer just, oh man, they're so good.
Yeah, I mean they're just like perfect for like just laying in a patch of grass or something, and just um take acid and look at the sky. But it's yeah, that's so cool that you got to see that, and that is actually one of the reasons that I wanted to, or that I bought tickets to all 3 marathon shows was just so that I could see all of these other songs
Mm,
played live. That I anticipate they're going to be playing a lot of stuff that they typically don't or haven't in the past.
mm.
I mean, like it's just interesting to me to see how they've gone in changing up their set list. Throughout the years, and I don't think they ever changed it up from show to show nearly as much until last year.
Yeah, like last year definitely like there was a ton of variety, but before it was just like the fan favorites pretty much. But when you
Yeah,
have huge discography like that, it's hard to pick and choose.
yeah. It like honestly, I feel like once they do these marathon shows, it's going to be hard for a lot of fans, I think, to go back to the typical like hour and a half or whatever.
Oh,
Um, I mean, like, because there are some bands that will just play 3-hour shows every time.
mhm,
I think the Grateful Dead used to do that. I think Dead and Company still does to some degree.
mm,
Um, I don't know for a fact. I haven't seen them, but uh, yeah, it's like you go to like the regular show that's an hour and a half, hour 45, and you see everything that goes into it, and it's like nobody's complaining that there's no encore. Like there's so much that goes into it. It's really cool to uh and like you imagine it must be exhausting to just do that. But since apparently they do have the energy to go a full 3 hours, like what do you think? Do you think they're going to start like expanding their runtime for shows after?
I mean, I would like to think that. I mean, considering how much they play, though, it's to do that for months on end would probably get tiring. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they could do it. Like, I'd love for them to do that because there's once, like you said, once that hour and a half is done, it's like, oh man, I kind of want more. Like, I just don't want it to end.
Yeah. I mean, because I was so like I've been getting back into some of their older stuff, like Willoughby's Beach and 12 Bar Brews, um, and like I was just kind of thinking, what if they just started tossing out like these old, really simple tracks, and just fucking around with those? Like that could easily expand the like first of all, you'd be getting the old stuff at current shows, and then also they're easy enough to play that and where they could just be loose with it and just throw them in the mix and just kind of fill fill up the time that way, but keep playing for longer. I think that might be a happy resolution.
But I can see them because they usually meld like shorter tracks in with like one long song. So I can imagine them doing something like that. That would be cool. I can just imagine that being like a whole other page to the Giz verse if they included some song that's not even correlated to another.
Yeah, I mean like it would be like a nice way to sort of tie all that old stuff together, because like because like obviously they're going to keep making new records and everything, and the more new records that come out, they're going to be playing more new stuff live. And
Mhm.
like there are so many great tracks from those old albums, from Oddments even, and then like obviously Eyes Like the Sky and 12 Bar. Like I just think there's so much opportunity there for them. But
Bring back.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so with so like were those the only 2 times that you've seen Giz, or have you continued to travel to see them and stuff since then?
Um, it was here, New Mexico, and then the third time I saw them was when they played at the Palladium in Hollywood.
Oh,
But
sick.
yeah, it was such a weird thing seeing them like progress from such a short time to play those two small venues and then sell out Palladium was just like, oh shit. But yeah, that show was insane. I'd gone up into the front and I stayed for probably half the set, and I had to get out of there, dude, because it was so sweaty, and like even when I had left, I still felt people hitting my body, even though there was no one.
Yeah, it can get pretty pretty violent in the pit. And it's the worst part of is it's like it like might be the most dangerous kind of violence because it's like it's not like it's all in good fun. and, and like yeah, it can be brutal. Like I'm not a big guy. I like my first ever Giz show, like I was, right up the front against the rail, and constantly people, like I was just fighting off people just like tearing at my back trying to get my spot basically. And it was
Mhm.
like it did kind of take away from the experience of like seeing the music. So
Oh, yeah.
from that point forward, I was just like, you know what, if I can find balcony seating, that's ideal.
Yeah. I mean, it's you participated a little bit, and then you want to sit back and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
it, I've like interacted with so many shows before that it's like you kind of get to a point where it's like I'm too old to do this kind of thing.
Yeah. It was definitely wearing on my body. Like I felt a cramp coming on,
Yep. Oh,
um, I mean, it was, yeah, I had to do like a lot of restorative yoga in the following days. And, um, but, yeah, so like, I guess, had you been doing, like, cause like I see with your art, you've been doing like photography plus posters,
mhm.
and like what all stuff do you do?
So for when I first started, it was mainly just the posters, and then I wanted to get to like actual live photography for a while. The way I grew up taking pictures, it was always like on little point and shoot film cameras. And I thought for that it wouldn't really work well. But then I found a really good deal on a camera, and then I bought it. I took it to a show, a few like local shows just to try it out. And then I really liked how it turned out. So then I just kept doing that, and then I kind of steered away from the posters for a little bit just to focus on like the photography to get myself or like to get into it. So then I kind of just been doing the photography since. Kind of like the whole graphic design thing kind of took a halt. Because it was a lot of money to print posters, and then like if I couldn't like sell them at the show, it was just like a huge expense, which I didn't mind because I wasn't really ever doing it for the money. I liked doing it for the artists, and like if I could give them some money, even though it really probably wasn't worth a lot of money, I just like doing it, and
Yeah.
it feel good, I guess.
Yeah. Like, have you gotten any feedback from different bands about the posters?
Yeah, no, they usually end up liking it, and then like I said, they usually sell it. But that's pretty much it. Like I never like reconnect with them to do like some other art. It's usually just like that one time thing. But if then they come back, I usually ask them if I could do it again. They're like, "Oh yeah, sure. That'd be
Nice.
cool if you back."
Yeah, I really like that OC's poster you did. Like the whole John Dwyer, uh,
Yeah,
like the, very very sick. I'll definitely plug your website. Uh,
I-
yeah,
yeah, I
you got
like
some
that one.
really cool stuff.
Thanks.
But yeah, so have you always lived in Phoenix or like
Yeah,
that area?
just
So
just
yeah, so like what kind of stuff did you grow up listening to?
um. So for the most part, it was so much radio when I was a kid. So oh man, tons of '90s, early 2000s rock. Like Deftones was like a huge part of my youth. Rage Against the Machine. Um, man, Weezer.
Yeah.
Uh, but it wasn't until high school where I really started to get into. Hey, sorry, man.
Oh, that's awesome. I
Um,
love how you just like showed up. Like, thank God for virtual backgrounds. That was such a cool transition, a cool aesthetic. I think that's the third pup featured on this podcast. So,
yeah, he wanted to say hello. Just invited, came in and invited himself.
what's his name?
Name's Snoopy. This is my mom's dog, but I have a dog myself. Uh, name's Harry. I got him from the pound. He's a little nervous, but
Oh,
um,
that's awesome. but yeah. So you were talking about in high school you started like exploring music a little more.
Yeah, so that's um, so high school was like a huge pivotal thing for me, where I kind of found like my taste in music. Um, like Mars Volta was a huge thing. Mr.
Hmm.
Bungle. I was telling you about Mr. Bungle.
Yeah, I checked out Mr. Bungle, and in initial reaction, a little too off the walls, but I did see what one of my favorite comics, Dean Delray. He was just talking with Trey from Mr. Bungle on
Oh,
his podcast. So I'm just like, okay, if Dean Delray's signing off of Mr. Bungle, I should probably like really give this a shot.
oh yeah.
So to be determined.
If you like I said, it's oh man, what is the word I'm looking for? It is different, and like it's one of those bands that has like humor in their music, and I tend to find that I love bands that have that sort of like humorous aspect, like Wayne. Like I love Wayne.
Hmm.
They're definitely my top 10.
Yeah,
Fun.
Ween's still on my list of bands to check out. I'll do it before the year's out. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, well, and like, yeah, that makes sense because I did sort of get that. Like, when I listened to Mr. Bungle and I listened to their 1991 album, or like the first half of it,
Hmm.
I could see how you'd make that connection, like that correlation. If you like Giz, you might like Mr. Bungle too, because
Hmm.
Giz also has a ton of humor, like
Oh yeah.
spread throughout. I mean, like you mentioned, '90s bands like Butthole Surfers. They're hilarious and also like legitimately good.
Hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Like I don't know what excuse me, the correlation between those two are, but it's just I don't know if it's just how certain people's like brains work or something, but it's just humor and music just pairs well.
Yeah, I mean, because you don't. I think one thing, so like my main thing is stand up comedy. So like I'm a comedian and I also play a little music on the side, and then I've got like music and comedy are the two most important things to me. Um, and I shit, I forgot where I was going with this. Um, right. Well. So like you're saying like why is it that you're more drawn to music that's humorous? Like I think that has something to do with that artists that put humor in their music are in a way sort of spoofing what makes like pop so popular.
Mhm.
Because like it's all predictable and stuff, and a lot of artists are just like, well, fuck predictability. Like, let's change it up and let's just be weird. And because it's a really fun time. Like even Nirvana has like a lot of humor,
Oh,
just laid throughout their lyrics and themes and stuff.
mhm. No, yeah, I totally agree. That's like I didn't really ever think of that, but I totally see that.
Yeah. um, yeah, I love like musing about psychology and like how different things affect others. It's fascinating to me. Um, but uh, shit, I forgot where I was going. Um, but well, yeah. So I mean, like you mentioned, humor is a huge part. Like, are you also into comedy, or is it, or do you just look for the humor in the music?
No, I love comedy. Never done stand up myself, but it's I feel like I'm not really super into it now, so I don't really know who's hot and like what really to look for. But like late '80s, early '90s comedians are definitely my favorite. My favorite comic is Bill Hicks.
Yeah, I was about to say that makes a lot of sense. Um, I mean, yeah, he kind of like he's one of the most influential people in my life, hands down. Like
Um,
I read biography about him, American Scream, if for anybody who wants to read. It was fantastic, and I saw so much of myself in like his whole background and thought process and shit. It was just like, yeah. Also, have you ever listened to Bill Hicks's music?
his music is phenomenal. Like that man was like a literal renaissance man. He could do it all, and it's I miss him. I wish I was able to see him when he was around because I can't even imagine how much my gut would hurt from laughing.
Oh yeah, I mean, just from like being in his presence, like he just had like that intensity to him, you know, like there's that conspiracy theory floating around that Alex Jones is actually just Bill Hicks and he never died, which
Uh,
is totally not true at all. But
uh,
but in terms of like energy and what they and like passion that they bring to the table, I can understand it.
oh yeah. And Bill, like you had said, you're taking the words right out of my mouth. He's a huge influence on my life. Like almost like a modern day philosopher uh, as well. So he just like I said, he could do it all. He definitely enlightened my world and experience or opened up my mind to a lot of things that I never would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Bill Hicks is fucking great. Check him out if you haven't. Like I could seriously just talk for days about everything I love about Bill Hicks, and but not enough to start a separate podcast for that. Uh,
We're kind of like veering off from Gizzard.
yeah, exactly. I mean, this I love going on different tangents, exploring different parts of because like I do feel that every little thing, every conversation that has to do with Giz, everything that it veers off into, I feel like is ultimately a part of the Gizverse. It's just an ever expanding universe, you know. So
Oh yeah.
that's at least my justification for going all over the place. Um, but well, I mean, so like obviously now there isn't a whole lot of live music going on, um, but prior to the pandemic and everything, what have you been sort of uh, like like are you usually going to different shows and
Oh,
are you like always taking pictures, or are you just going to enjoy it sometimes?
so I really only go to shows that for people that I like. But so I usually just bring my camera with to those shows. That's kind of like something that I've always. That's something about myself. Like I don't really want to take pictures or like or work with people that I don't really know or really care for. I feel like it's just a waste of time. Like the passion's just not there unless I like the person.
Yeah,
But yeah, usually any show that I go to, I'm usually there taking pictures.
that's sick. um I mean, like, it's like I do really like that. That you have that sort of caveat with with the photography. Like, you're only going to do it if the passion is really there, because like you can tell from like different photographers' photos, like, was this just a simple hire, or are you actually like trying to you know communicate something, convey something? And yeah, I mean, like the blur that you have, I think it was like that 128 millimeter. I don't know very much about cameras, but I think that was the number that you
Mm,
captioned it with. I forget which artist it was, uh, but you do have like a cool sort of technique, like a style to it that I don't. I think it's just one of those things. It's probably just sort of coincidental, but
mm. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it's definitely it's hard to convey how I mean, like for the most part, I think the majority of people just see them as pictures, but I'm trying to convey an emotion. Um, it is somewhat hard to do that in a day and age of like Instagram where everyone's just like scrolling up and it's I feel like it's almost a lost art. Because before, if you wanted to look at pictures, you'd have to go to like a gallery or something. Um,
yeah.
and it's when you have so many pictures that you're seeing a day, it's hard to appreciate that. At least that's what I find. But trying to make things that people can look at and be like, oh, that's cool, and like just at least ponder what you're looking at for a minute or so.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I guess I don't use Instagram the way that most people do then, because like if I see something interesting, like I will just kind of devour it and just like look for all the like the hidden gems and stuff. You know, like I've always loved, like, when I was a kid, I loved Where's Waldo, so I'd always be looking around, but then I'd get kind of lost just in the rest of the art and just kind of like checking out, hey, what's going on over there. it's like I just have that approach to, I guess appreciation of photography and art and whatnot. But back to Giz, they're coming out with a bunch of new stuff.
Oh man.
So what are your so I'm assuming you've heard the 4 tracks they've released from KG. Uh, what's your take on that?
Oh man. Straws in the Wind is the best song so far. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. It like the second time through listening to it, I was like, that is my favorite Ambrose song, hands
Oh,
down.
it's as soon as I heard it, it was just god damn, dude. I'm so excited for this record. Like
Yeah.
oh, it's
Did
gonna be
did you pre-order it?
immediately. Oh, and any like even when I don't have money, like I get every Flightless record every time. Like I love them so much. Like I'm not there's no other band that I'm this passionate about to just where I want to give them my money.
Yeah, right. It almost feels as if they're a publicly traded company and we're all the shareholders. Like it's I mean, because it is an investment, but like there's so much. I mean, like I only started collecting vinyl this year, really. Like I guess I bought a couple Giz records last year, but that was mostly just for the download codes because they weren't available on Spotify yet. But yeah, like now I find that with every record that I get, like I just feel better, and it's such a weird investment of time and resources.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a. Who would have known that a piece of plastic can be life altering?
Yeah, I mean, and they sure they say fuck all that plastic, but I say let's let's compromise. Why don't we just use plastic wisely? Don't throw away your records, people.
They'll outlive us if we take care of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's just imagine the paradigm of like 100 years from now. It's just records and cyborgs. Like,
That might that could be fun. That also could be pretty bad. Like Stu said, there's good AI and bad AI.
mhm. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like shit. You watch The Social Dilemma, and you you learn all about that. Um, which especially coming out like that documentary came out around the same time as Straws in the Wind. I don't know if you saw The Social Dilemma, um, but it's horrifying, also eye opening, and I ultimately I enjoyed it. I think it was good educational piece. But there are so many similarities between that and the theme of Straws in the Wind, um, that it like I had to stop listening to Straws for a little while just because it felt too real, too relevant, you know.
Mm.
But fuck, it is so good. Um,
I find that Giz really knows how to stay on topic of like current events. It's cool to see that in music because it's different.
yeah. Did you happen to watch the KEXP uh, interview with Stu and talking about how he was making honey?
I did watch it. Yes, I only
Yeah.
but I did see it.
Okay. Yeah. Like I don't know if you caught this, but Stu said that like basically he'll have like working lyrics for for different songs, and then just before they're actually going to get to recording them, he'll just kind of do a little rewrite to make it more contemporary.
Mm.
Um, I thought, like, honestly, that's a bit of a relief to me, since the idea that they're just like coming out with all this shit like at the same time as we see it all going on, um, or like maybe even a little bit before the stuff really happens. It sort of made it seem as though Stu might be some kind of divine entity, which maybe he is, but that was starting to freak me out a little bit, a little too much. I was like, it's good to still, be a fan of a human.
Mm. Oh yeah, yeah. Stu is a really nice guy. I've met him a few times, but every time has been a delight.
Yeah, I still have yet to meet him. I've only met Cookie and Lucas so far, and they're also super cool. But I mean, you don't. Objectively, they're kind of tucked in the back of the band. So you don't really have much expectation one way or another about their personalities. But like with Stu, you hear he's basically the same guy off stage that he is on it.
Mhm.
Joey's kind of basically they're all kind of like that from what I hear. It's yeah. Fuck, I wish I could be friends with all of them.
I've got a funny story about Joey.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so when they had played at the that Palladium show, they were Joey. I went over to Amoeba. And every time you're in Hollywood, you got to go to Amoeba. And I went in there, and Joey was in there like looking through records, and he was going through the K's, and I thought it was funny. He was like trying to find his own records, and he was like looking at some copy of Polygon Wonderland. And I was like, that's kind of funny. I like that. That's cool. But
Yeah.
they do have appreciation for their own music, and I like that.
Well, and especially with Polygon Wonderland, I think it's and now with the automation video, I think it's really cool how they legitimately like I think they recognize that their fan base is very much on their wavelength in terms of creative ambition and like just avant-garde creativity. Like so it's cool to see them like kind of appreciate the creation based on what they created themselves. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
it's just so cool that it's not lost on them. And
Mhm.
that what a place to just run into Joey. Also, looking through the K's.
Oh yeah, another thing of the case. Yeah, it was. It's yeah. Maybe I don't realize how much I do that now that I think about it.
I mean, it's so funny because like you would think like initially that's a weird thing to do, just hover around the K's, but at the same time, it's like it seems to be a pretty fruitful venture. Like how many other people have you wound up talking with just based on hanging around the K's?
Oh man, like the other day. You're the first one that I've ever come across looking for King Giz.
Well, shit. Uh, well,
Oh,
I guess that's like it's nice that that they're still sort of underground. I guess like it's cool to have that, but like I'm honestly a little surprised that like you haven't seen more people like digging through because I know I'm not the only one buying King is
yeah,
from that Zia Records location. Like even the lady who checked me out, she was telling me, "Oh yeah, I have tickets to Red Rocks," and um,
yeah.
I unfortunately I was in too much of a rush to ask her to be on the podcast as well. But yeah, I was like, you always see people there who know a little bit.
Oh yeah. I mean, they've blown up. They're hopefully eventually they'll become a household name. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think they're on their way. Like I think they'll at least be as much of a household name as Fish is. And granted, like the connotation with Fish, unless you're talking with a fan, is basically just like, oh, okay, you're just stoned all the time. But like, but a household name nonetheless.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's back.
All right.
All right. All right. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's fun.
it's it's cool to see how far they've come.
Yeah. Did you also pick up a copy of the Live in San Francisco
Yeah.
2016?
I got both flightless versions. I forgot the one that I got. It was like a swirl color.
Yeah, I think I got the one that was like sold out less or sold out afterward. Like I got the less popular one. Uh,
They all do the same thing.
yeah, they're all limited to the same number. So it's weird to me that certain ones are appeal to others more. I did try to get, and I will say with KG, the denim color vinyl, that one appealed to me the most. I had it in my basket 6 after the hour, and by the time I paid, there's like, oh yeah, you're gonna have to get a new item. So that's sold
Yeah,
out.
it's so weird how that works. Like you have to like manifest it of like in a sense of like which one is going to be the most popular. Apparently, the denim one was the most popular.
Yeah, I mean, because to me, my reason for wanting to go with the denim was like, you know, with with Volume 1, Flying Microtonal Banana, um, I actually don't own that vinyl, but I imagine it like when I think of that, I think of like a blue and yellow record, but I think of like a yellow colored vinyl.
Mhm.
Stay with me. This might be weird, but um, you know, so basically, I want to buy that Flying Microtonal Banana to sort of pair with KG, um,
That's
and just so you have like the yellow and denim.
mhm,
Because I don't know why they selected those colors as the microtonal colors, but it
mhm.
is really fascinating to me.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. I did the same thing. I kind of wanted to do like the opposites. Like I've got whatever the first pressing of Microtonal Banana. It was like a neon yellow, and then I
Okay,
just
yeah,
oh man, see, I already forgot which one I got. I think I got the yellow version of KG.
yeah,
Maybe I did. Shit.
yeah. Well, I got the yellow one from Flightless, and then I also got the Brain Splatter um, from No Label, the American exclusive.
That one was really cool. I was see like I usually like double buy their records. I don't know why. I don't do that when with anyone else, but I'm trying to hold back doing that.
Yeah, I I bought both, you know, both copies of it. I typically don't do that.
Mhm.
Like I feel like it's fine just to own one pressing of a record, you know.
Okay.
Um, but like I was just so conflicted. Um, and like I love both the Brain Splatter and I love supporting Flightless too. And I'm just like, shit. Maybe I'll just enjoy them both, or maybe I'll end up flipping one. You know, around the holidays, I'm sure somebody missed out on one of them will, you know, want to get it for a present. So um, who knows? Might do that, but
Yeah, people get a little fussy about flipping records, but that's the whole point. It's like you said earlier, it's an investment, and if you got a really hot pressing that people want, you can flip it.
yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with a secondary market, you know, with flipping, you know, just an extra that you got or something. It's just like when you get the people that that's their entire life's business model of just
Oh,
you know, buying up and exploiting. Like that's the difference, you know. There is a happy medium you can find. Um,
definitely
and
the I got so much hatred toward those record store day flippers. What dick?
yeah, I mean, like I'm happy that Record Store Day exists because you know it's good to keep the record stores in business. Um, but yeah, it's a pain in the ass. I wanted to buy I was trying to buy Record Store Day exclusive pressing of like the Meat Puppets came out with something that I don't know if you're familiar with them.
No, dude, I'm in AZ. Of course, I know the Meat
Yeah,
Puppets.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've talked with other people in the area. They're just like, "Oh yeah, I've never heard of them." Just like that's bananas to me, but okay, maybe that's just a me thing. Uh, but yeah, like they came out with a Record Store Day album of just I think it was just like a few cover songs um and maybe one or two originals. But like they did a cover of the Big Rock Candy Mountain, you know, just like that old uh you know, like bluegrass folk song.
Hmm.
Um, so that was cool. I also a few episodes ago I had Elmo Kirkwood on the podcast. I'm actually like okay friends with the Meat Puppets. um,
They're oh man, they're such a good band. My so I I guess we can like come back to it. I guess I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to. So another band that I've like worked with before, they're called Gorilla Toss. If so Peter, the drummer for that band, he really digs the Meat Puppets.
Sick. Yeah, I saw a lot of those Gorilla Toss posters that you made, um, and I feel as though I've heard of them. Like, are they just a local Phoenix band, or are they?
So
Or,
no, yeah, Gorilla Toss, they're not, they don't live here. They're in New York, um, but they're a bunch of cool. cool cats.
Yeah, that's sick. I'll have to check him out. I love the posters for that you did for him, and I think just like by viewing the stuff on your website, like I have a lot of new music to check out. Um,
Oh
I
yeah,
just yeah, um, like sometimes the cover does sell the book, you know. Uh,
uh,
but
they they just had a single that was out on Sub Pop in July, I think. But I did the art for that. It's of their dog Watley.
oh, sick.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out for sure. Um, I guess we'll get to wrapping up sort of soon. But before I let you go, is there anything Giz related that you've been thinking about that we haven't discussed yet?
Oh man, I'm sure there's so much stuff. I'm always thinking about King Giz. Um, man, I'm curious if there's a third record because I heard that there was talks about a third one. Don't read that.
I mean, yeah, you would think that with like they're releasing one record KG, why wouldn't there be an LW?
Yeah.
Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if the LW comes like next year. I would be surprised if they. I mean, maybe it would just be a really happy surprise if they did come out with a third record this year. But it would be so weird that they'd be coming out with another record, and it's November now. They wouldn't have any singles released from it. Wouldn't it
Oh
be
yeah.
wild if they released a record just with nothing?
I th- well, I think didn't they do that with Gum? Well, you said you list Polly was your first record. Didn't they do that with Gumboot though? I think
Uh,
right after it ended, they put it out.
they put it out, but they did have a few singles from it beforehand.
It's all
You
coming
know,
back. I remember.
yeah. They had Beginner's Luck, Greenhouse Heat Death, and Lost Oasis. And I think that's the last anybody heard of Lost Oasis, but
Uh,
they've never played it live or anything. But um, yeah, it's fascinating to me. It really wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. Like
mm,
I think we know now to just expect the unexpected.
you never know with them, which is a
Yeah,
treat. It's always a good feeling when they just blindly put something out.
yeah. I think it's great. It's always interesting to see what the fan reaction is. The initial one, like I remember
Mm,
when Sketches came out, lots of people are shitting on it, just like what the hell is this? And now those same people have finally come around, and I was one
Same
of
with,
them. But
oh man. Same with Murder the Universe. When that came out, I was like, this is fucking amazing. And it was like everyone read that listened to Anthony Fantano's review. Just despise Murder of the Universe, and it's amazing. I love that record so much.
yeah, it's an incredible one. It's not my favorite, but like it is such a unique thing what they did with it. The three stories, plus having Leah Senior come on for the spoken word portions, and
Oh, yeah.
I mean I think one of the most powerful uh, pieces of sound that Giz has created is in A New World, where Leah Senior says, "And your memories will have blown up like a mushroom cloud," and like she says, "mushroom cloud," and then they
Oh yeah.
and like just everything hits right there. It's just in such perfect rhythm um, that like it just sucks you in, and then it's just like that super slow cymbal beat, and then and then all of a sudden it leads into Altered Beast, just like super fast tempo and shit, and fucking love that. Um,
Like I feel like if I had a child, that would be like a twisted storybook to read them, and they can just like read along with the little book that it comes with.
fuck yeah, that'd be great. Um, but dude, Elijah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It's always cool to meet a Gizzhead in person and then to do a podcast with them like not even a week later.
No, yeah, it was a lot of fun, John. Thanks for inviting me on, man.
Yeah, you got it. All right, take it easy, man.
All right, man. I'll see you.